initially it was reported that the hurricane was not going to be a category level in which we would need to really be concerned, but we wanted to prepare. You always prepare for the worst and hope for the best. So things were, we thought we were going to be leaving for that weekend and coming back to school on Monday. And unfortunately, the hurricane decided to stall over the city, and it created 2 to 4 feet of flooding in our parish. The only building that sustained no losses was Father's house, which was a blessing.
Hey everyone, and welcome to a special summer edition of the SMA Audio Experience Podcast. We are super excited. Well, we hope everyone is enjoying their summer break. They're traveling, getting some rest and relaxation, reconnecting with their spirituality and their faith and everything. We're taking the time out to just continue making that great content, reaching out, making great connections. We went back into the Facebook and into our social media feeds, and we did not forget about them. And we wanted to reach out to the school, St. Francis of Assisi Catholic School, which is located, in the area of the east side of Houston, Texas. We wanted to reach out to the community and see how they're doing. Even though things have been great, how went into 2018, we do not want to forget about the people who, were affected by, a lot of natural occurrences with Mother Nature. And we were able to get a moment of time from the principal, Mrs. Tawana Fulmer. Ms. Fulmer, thanks for joining us and taking time out of your morning this morning. How are you doing today?
Thanks for having me, Mark. I'm doing wonderful.
Fantastic. Well, I was going back, and I remember, a lot of the teachers and the leadership at St. Michael Academy here in San Diego, in the South Bay area of San Diego. We were, talking, and I remember when it first happened, some of the teachers, first emailed me, or they sent me a text message, and they said, hey, we have someone, from, either from the community, a teacher or a parent, and they sent like 60 or 7 pictures. It was a link to like a Google photo album. And I remember there was like, everything was just underwater, or after, things had dried up, like all of this, cabinets, equipment, desks, books, everything had been moved out of the buildings. And can you kind of share, how that was, like what happened at your school a little bit? How has rebuilding and everything been since?
Sure. Well, the funny thing is, initially it was reported that the hurricane was not going to be a category level in which we would need to really be concerned, but we wanted to prepare. You always prepare for the worst and hope for the best. So things were, we thought we were going to be leaving for that weekend and coming back to school on Monday. And unfortunately, the hurricane decided to stall over the city, and it created 2 to 4 feet of flooding in our parish. The only building that sustained no losses was Father's house, which was a blessing. But all of the other buildings, the church, the church hall, the school, and the parish offices all sustained 2 to 4 feet of water. And because of that, all of the items inside of the buildings were damaged that were within those levels of water. And it was an excessive amount of equipment. When we walked in, it was obvious in the office buildings and in the library that the water was very strong. It had pushed these really, really heavy library chairs completely onto the floor. They were just laid out as if someone had come in and purposely pushed them to the ground. Things were soaking wet. The smell of mildew was just, we had to wear masks and gloves. The people that had come in to remove things also wore like protective gear because you had to be careful, for mold. But yes, it was a lot. And it took a lot of people we had a lot of volunteer groups come in and help to remove the things, because you want to get them out the buildings before there's any problems, that start occurring because of possible mold growth.
How old is like the campus or like a lot of the buildings?
Well, St. Francis of Assisi Catholic School is 50 plus.
Wow, very awesome.
and
Very awesome.
and the actual classrooms are in
Mhm.
portable buildings.
Okay.
There was a hurricane previous that had damaged part of the community, and so the classrooms were in portables. There we had our computer lab, library, music room, and science lab are all part of a permanent structure, along with the administrative offices, clinic, and development office. And so all of the brick buildings sustained damage. Luckily, the portables were, those are higher up. So any damage they received came through the roof as opposed to rising water. Yeah.
Before, all the flooding and everything happened, what were like some big school like initiatives or goals that you guys were working on? Did you guys have like a lot of schools usually have like at the beginning of the year like a theme for the school year or certain things that they're working on? Like up until that point, what was your, how was the school doing? Like what was the school theme and what was that vibe and that momentum like, up until that point?
Well, one of the main things we were doing is the school was finishing up a 3-year pilot program. And so we were becoming part of a model that the Archdiocese had established for the inner city schools. So Father and I we were working on, getting all of the materials together, knowing exactly what we had on site, doing repairs over the summer, making sure we were ready for the school year. The theme for the year was Ask, Seek, and Knock, because our goal was to raise our enrollment.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way you can do that is by going out there and asking and seeking people who are interested in investing in their children's education,
Mm-hmm.
not only with their treasures, but with their time and with their talent. And so that was our goal initially, was to bring people in there that wanted to help to grow our parish and have a healthy, vibrant community where the church and the school work together for the greater good of bringing our children closer to Christ.
Nice. And there was just a temporary pause, in that movement, with some a little change in the journey, to fulfilling that for last year going to this year. I know that when we spoke about 2 to 3 weeks ago, it was kind of it was an interesting but very optimistic and promising thing for the students and the faculty and staff, where all of you guys are going to be teaching for this coming school year, but not just for this school year, but very excitingly for the following years to come after that. Can you share a little bit about that?
Sure. So the last year, because the school was uninhabitable, we shared a school, Resurrection Catholic School, which was maybe a little under 3 miles away from St. Francis. So we were fortunate in that they had room for our campus to join theirs. And so that's how we spent last year. This year, we are going to be back on our original campus. But at the same time, the Archdiocese has decided to open up a Catholic school that had been closed about 10 years ago because it is not located in a flood zone. And they are going to restore it to current codes. And we will be moving there next year because our parish would like to build a new school that that will be more flood, with a flood prohibitive, for lack of a better way of saying it. And then the idea is that we'll return to our campus once we've had a capital campaign to help us to get those funds together.
Gotcha. And lots of opportunity, but I think in every stage of that, what that sounds like is there's no fear, because I think like our fellow brothers and sisters in Christ and in our Catholic faith, regardless of where you're at, not just in the United States, but in the world, you're not alone, right? Our faith, our fellow, community members in the Catholic Church and in the faith, we're here to support you. That's one of the reasons, even though it's summertime, I really wanted to hold true to getting you on the podcast and getting that story of how things are going, to remind people that even if something didn't as catastrophic happen physically to the campus, but maybe they're in that summertime right now, right? Because as you guys you were in that journey of putting the plans and executing in place to up that enrollment, because we know that across, the nation, that's a common challenge in, the Catholic school communities, those enrollment numbers, right? Because it's a different ball game than, 5, 10, 15, 30 years ago. But we want to make sure, do what we can, because even though we're out in San Diego, that's no excuse that we can't help, get the word out, especially if you guys have any upcoming like fundraising events for the summer or things that you're leading into that you really want to amplify and reach out to, your community and the surrounding areas that support you guys. We want to make that platform available to you, so do you have any things going on for the summer, or like what are some ways to like donate or to help out, your school to help that rebuilding process continue and just be very sustainable?
Well, one of the things that we've been doing is we've been trying to get the word out that we are enrolling right now. And so we've been getting together signage so that people can see, that the school is coming back. We're updating our website and contacting the community. I'm getting ready to meet with my school board and look at different ways we can go out to some of the neighboring churches and get the word out for anyone that's interested in having their children come and attend a Catholic school, or, they don't have to be Catholic, but if they want their children to be closer to Christ, here's an opportunity for them to be able to do that in their community. We are fortunate too that we have people that do not live in the immediate community, but that would like their children to come to our school because it's closer to their work. And because of that, we have families that come from all parts of Houston to attend our school. So that is another option for people who, would prefer to have their children closer to them at work and be able to get to them quicker should they need to do that. Another thing, we have different fundraisers throughout the year. People can, if they would like to, they can donate by mail to our school phone number. Not phone number, the school address, which is located on our website at www.sfoacs.org is the website. And we have several fundraisers throughout the year. We do have an annual fund where if people like to perpetually give, each month a small donation throughout the year, we can set that up. We also have, the church does a fall bazaar, and the school does host a booth at that event. We have a Steps for Students event, which happens early spring, where we do literally steps. It's a fun run and walk run that the entire archdiocese does, and 100% of those donations go back to your prospective school. And then our big fundraiser, we do a crawfish festival in the month of April, and we host usually two live bands and unlimited crawfish and a lot of fun. We do really, really, really well for that particular event.
Oh, podcasts don't have smell, like taste, like food sensory yet. That's coming.
Yes.
With all this new technology coming out in the next, decade or less. But that is exciting. And, the biggest thing aside from the food, the biggest thing that I love hearing about that is community. Don't you just love that?
Yes.
Community, connecting with people, it's very, very exciting. It's so glad it's so fun to hear that you guys are still moving forward. You're keeping it moving. You got faith behind you. You got leadership who just does not quit. You got that great Texas resiliency and that moxie and everything like that. That is just amazing. One line, because this might be like, I'm going to cut this maybe and have it be at the beginning of the podcast episode before the full episode airs. Like, if there's like a line or a short statement that you can say to your returning families or new families who weren't sure if you're there, like, and they say, hey, what do you got to say to them? What would you say?
I would say welcome home. We are ready and willing to continue on the journey that we started pre-Harvey.
Awesome. With that, I wanted to take a moment. I want to respect your time and want to take a moment and commend you for being of service, being a great leader, for those, and being that light so that people were not sure of, what direction to go to or what was going to happen, because aside from home, that school is like a second home. And especially when it's at a Catholic school where, they really push faith and everything like that, even when things are very, very, dire or very extreme and very uncomfortable. It is such a nice and blessed thing to hear, having a leader and a place to still say, hey, don't worry, don't be lost. We're here. You're home. And we're here to take care of you and love you and, show you the best way that we know.
Well, the best part of that is knowing that, there were people all across the country that reached out and helped in all kinds of ways. Students came up with ideas and they made them come to fruition. And so throughout the year, I was contacted by people and, people checking in on us, seeing what we needed. And so that helped us to, keep going. It just seemed like whenever, we felt like, my goodness, can we just get things back to normal? Someone would call and check to see how we were doing. It was really, really wonderful.
That's amazing. It's a great testament to, just Catholic schools, and again, that sense of family and community that just binds all of us together, regardless of location and wherever you're at. It's a universal truth. So
yes.
Well, Mrs. Fulmer, thank you so much for your time. Again, Ms. Fulmer is from St. Francis of Assisi Catholic School, located in the east side of Houston, Texas. If you guys didn't catch that at the beginning of the episode, but we definitely want to, give her props and give her shout outs to, to your school and, to you as a fantastic leader. We're going to definitely link up your website and, some of the keynotes that you talked about, in the show notes. So when people are listening to this on their iPhone or their Android phone in their, podcast app, whichever one that you're using, when they look at the notes, they can simply just tap on your the website address for your school, and they can head over to school and get the latest happenings and see what's going on, because we know that you guys are going to be building with a fury. So
thank you very much.
Awesome. Well, everybody, thanks so much for your attention. We know that time is so valuable, but continue to have a fantastic remaining of the summer. Send in those pictures, those email messages for any guests or topics you like discussed. We just started our IGTV, our Instagram TV channel. That was a new feature that Instagram released a couple of days ago on the platform. So, of course, St. Michael, along with other schools or business and entities, have already started creating their channels to take advantage of that longer form video content. We just posted episode 001 of the summer episode, and that's to show what the power of Google can do, not just for business education and everybody and beyond, but specifically like what kind of value that can bring to your child, yourself as a family, and even if you're not a member of the community, you can still apply it to a regular Google account, and hopefully that can still add a lot of value if that's something that's just totally new to you too. So with that, thanks so much, Ms. Fulmer, again, for being a guest on the SMA Audio Experience Podcast. God bless, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks again for listening to another episode of the SMA Audio Experience Podcast, brought to you by St. Michael San Diego's Technology and Social Media team. For more information, go ahead and visit our website at www.smasandiego.org,
on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, we use the common handle or username of SMA San Diego. So you can definitely reach out to us there, leave a tweet, a message, a post, a comment. We'll be happy to engage with you, answer all your questions, and really join in part of sharing the St. Michael San Diego story on social media and on the internet and also via the podcast. So thanks again for listening. Take care, and we'll hear you next week.